Worm your way where the fern fronds tall fashion a lacework over your head, hemming you in with a high green wall. Then, when the thrush calls once, stop dead. Ask the old grey wallaby there, him pricky-eared by a woolly butt tree, how to encounter a glug. Australia's own C.J. Dennis may well have offered similar advice to those taking part in the current Queanbeyan quest for a Yowie. Few people are fortunate to be able to claim an encounter with Australia's answer to a Yeti or a Bigfoot. Yowie hit the headlines again last month when the Queanbeyan Age published the claims of a Blue Mountains naturalist, Rex Gilroy, supported by photographs and illustrations said to prove its existence. Dr. Colin Groves is lecturer in prehistory and anthropology at the Australian National University.
Well, I'm afraid it's rather unlikely. It's unlikely on geological grounds. For example, there's been a very large major sea gap between Australia and Southeast Asia, which is the nearest part of the rest of the world.
John Shand, an unemployed playwright, claims he's actually caught one.
Well, my friend Jack and I were going for our normal early Sunday morning walk beside Lake George, and we were walking along the edge of the lake on the far side, away from where the road is, and suddenly we noticed some ripples in the water, and slowly a head emerged.
I would say to anybody thinking of going out to look for the Yowie that there might be dangers involved. I would quote a story of the Bigfoot in North America, of a girl who stated that she was kidnapped by a Bigfoot and held captive for some 2 to 3 weeks, and the animal made repeated attempts to ravish her, and finally she got away under very stirring circumstances.
It had the marks of intelligence that a man bears, but the fur, long shaggy fur, more like an ape. But it stood at least 14 foot tall by the time it emerged from the water.
14 feet?
Yes.
Well, how did you actually go about capturing it then?
Well, when it caught sight of us, it reacted rather strongly and cried, "Yahoo!" and charged towards us. And as it got nearer and was about to make the kill, it started crying, "Yowie! Yowie! Yowie!" in a voice similar to that, though not quite the same. Whereupon my friend, who was the more adventurous of the two, tried to make communication with it. It appeared not to respond. In fact, it just responded by grabbing him, and between what was just his thumb and his forefinger, holding him high in the air, and then bringing it to his mouth and biting off his arm.
It ripped his arm off?
Right off, yes.
Well,
now, this was quite a shock to my friend, of course, but it appeared that it was more of a shock to the Yowie, who fainted when it saw the blood, I think.
Therefore, I would say think twice before you go out. Not only girls, but there's also the possibility, we know that homosexuality exists in the animal kingdom, and there's also the possibility perhaps of a gay Yowie, so watch it when you go and have a look.
And my friend now was becoming much more excited about this fainted Yowie than about his missing arm, and he suggested we should try and bind it up. Now luckily we had some rope and we did this.
How did you fit a 14-foot Yowie in a cage this size?
Well, that was a problem, yes. What we had to do is one of us had a saw by sheer luck, and we cut it off above the waist and just brought the top half back and put it in there. We noticed that immediately we cut off the top half, the wound healed of its own accord. Mm-hmm. And by the time we got it back here, new legs were already forming.
The specimen shelves at the ANU, right at the scene of the action, tell a sorry tale. Although they're an impressive array of hominids' heads from Pekin-Man to Heidelberg and Chukutian, not to mention Wajak and East Rudolph, there's still an empty space awaiting Australia's own link with the apes. Colin Groves says he'd be thrilled if that shelf could be filled.
Well, I suppose you can't exclude its existence. As a scientist, I must not do this. As Charles Kingsley said, in order to prove that no water babies exist, you must see no water babies existing. But up until now, I must admit that the nearest thing to a Yowie I've seen is my friend Chaucer.
Who's Chaucer?
I'll show you. Chaucer! Chaucer! Come on! Hey! That's Chaucer.